Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Deicide, and in this video, we're going to go ahead and learn how to play on the Hunter, and more specifically, how to play on the Gunslinger Subclass. Now, of all the subclasses returning from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 for that of the Hunter, I've gotta say that this Gunslinger Subclass is by far one of the highest fan favorites, and because of that, it's got a ton of similarities from Destiny 1, while at the same time it's got a bunch of key differences in Destiny 2, and exactly what all those are is what we're going to discuss. Not just that, but we're going to cover all the pros and cons, and more importantly, the exact builds on this Gunslinger subclass so that you guys know exactly how to play them for whatever kind of playstyle that fits you the best. If you're worried about having maneuverability issues or possibly not having a good team ability, don't worry about that and throw those concerns out the window, because I guarantee you that this subclass can easily annihilate Guardians in the Crucible. The only thing left to do is to eviscerate that subscribe button, and let's jump right into the video. One of my biggest concerns with the Hunter and the subclasses associated with it is the fact that I wasn't too sure as to how it was going to be within the Crucible in terms of overall maneuverability. That's why I was a little hesitant, and so what I really want to do first is I want to cover exactly how that issue is covered within this exact subclass. So for the Gunslinger, you have high jump, strafe jump, and triple jump, one of these three that you can choose from. With high jump, this is a jump ability that upgrades double jump with even greater height. With strafe jump, this is a jump ability that upgrades double jump with better directional control in the air, and triple jump is another jump ability that upgrades double jump with a third jump. Of all these three jumps, the only one that you guys need to look at is either strafe jump or triple jump, and let me explain why. With strafe jump, you get two jumps, but with this, it's got one of two advantages. The first one is that it can cover horizontal distances very quickly, because on the first jump, you cover exactly the same distance that you would with anything else. But that second jump is when you get a massive boost in speed, and that also allows you to cover horizontal distances much faster in comparison to that of the high jump or the triple jump. In addition to this, while you're in the air, strafe jump has better directional control, and so what this allows you to do is literally be able to change direction on a dime, going from left to right at literally a 90-degree angle if you so happen to do so. If you want to go up in the air and turn left, and then all of a sudden turn right, you can do that exact same ability with strafe jump. Now this is where triple jump comes into play, because you can't do either one of these things. But what it does do is that it gives you a third jump, and it also gives you directional control to a certain extent while in the air, because even though you can't change direction on a dime, what this allows you to do is to change directions at a minimum of 30-degree angles. Now this is not a huge change from one direction to the next, but what it really allows you to do is constantly change your elevation from one jump to the next, and that does one of two things. It makes you a hard target to hit, while at the same time, you're never constant, and that constant elevation change and constant directional change is what really allows the maneuverability of the Hunter to exceed many other subclasses. In addition to this, you also have to know that with the Hunters, their mobility is their highest key stat, and because of that, they have a very fast jump speed. Now the way in which that affects the Hunter more is with triple jump, because as you're jumping more often, that jump and acceleration is going to be greater from one jump into the next, and so you can get to greater heights faster than what you can for strafe jump or with high jump. So now that you guys know all the pros and cons from strafe jump to triple jump and also high jump, it's really up to you to determine which one that you want to use, but what I would strongly advise you guys to use is to either use strafe jump or triple jump and just base it off of whatever playstyle that fits you the best. One of the key attributes in the Hunter that is universal for all of its subclasses is the dodging ability, one of which you can choose from, and that's either a marksman's dodge or gambler's dodge. With marksman's dodge, this is a twirl animation that automatically reloads your equipped weapon while dodging. In contrast to this, we also have the gambler's dodge, and the gambler's dodge is a dash animation that generates melee energy while dodging near enemies. So the first key difference here that I want to point out is the actual animation itself. With marksman's dodge, you have a twirl animation, and with gambler's dodge, you have a dash animation. For the twirl animation, it's very vital that you understand that this is meant to reload your weapon, and that's also designed so that you get right back into the gun battle engagement. So rather, instead of getting in and out of cover, this is designed to go behind cover to allow you to reload and then pop right back out almost instantly and then get right back into the gun battle engagement. It's designed so that it's very aggressive, and so that you can use the jumping abilities to correlate along with this marksman's dodge very nicely, as it makes you extremely evasive, while at the same time gain all your damage and all those shots onto the enemy guardians. In contrast to this, you also have the gambler's dodge, and the gambler's dodge animation is designed so that you're lower to the ground. Because of this, it makes you number 1, a harder target, and number 2, it's designed to get into cover. So this is more of a duck and cover type of animation, and it's also designed as more of a passive playstyle, but you can also use it aggressively because what it also does is it makes sure that you get your melee energy back as long as you're dodging near an enemy. So what this allows you to do is melee dodge melee and have that be very, very proficient, especially if the enemy guardians have a very, very low health or possibly even medium health, as 2 melees with full charge is easily going to be able to take them out. So you can really just pick and choose between one of these 2 abilities as to which one fits your playstyle the best, but just keep in mind that Marksman's Dodge is designed to get you right back into the gun battle engagement, whereas the Gambler's Dodge is meant to get you into cover, and you can choose between whichever one fits your playstyle the best. One of the most pivotal characteristics to any subclass within Destiny 2 is their grenade abilities, and the Gunslinger Subclass has 3. The first one is called an Incendiary Grenade, followed by a Swarm Grenade, and then a Trip Mine Grenade, all 3 of which are designed to be used in very, very different test case scenarios, and let me explain exactly how each of them functions. With an Incendiary Grenade, this is an explosive grenade that causes significant damage output, and also catches enemies on fire to do a damage over time burn effect. With a Swarm Grenade, this is a grenade that detonates upon impact, and releases multiple drones that then seek out nearby enemies with a delayed damage effect. A Trip Mine Grenade is another explosive grenade, but in this case, it sticks to surfaces and detonates when enemies pass through its laser trigger, causing massive damage output. Just listening to all 3 of these descriptions, you guys can really see that all 3 of them are very, very different, and they cater to a specific type of playstyle. So let me talk about the pros and cons of the Incendiary Grenade first, and then we'll go into the next consecutive ones. With an Incendiary Grenade, this is designed kind of like a regular frag grenade, and it's meant so that you're trying to anticipate where the enemy guardians are going to be and then toss that grenade as a precognition effect. If you happen to do this properly, you're going to be able to do 120 points of damage just by having them step on that grenade, and at the exact same time, you're also going to be able to do a burn effect, and that burn effect is going to do 6 or 7 points of damage for about 5 or 6 times. So as you guys can do the math right there, this grenade can literally do up to 150 points of damage just by the grenade alone. If you were to compare this with a Swarm Grenade, it's not nearly as effective because what it does is it releases the drones on impact, and rather than doing massive amounts of damage, it's very, very useful for doing a controlled area effect. So what I mean by this is that, say that you happen to be on B, or you don't want someone to come through a hallway or a passageway or something else like that. It's very, very proficient to just go ahead and toss your Swarm Grenade because it prevents the enemy team from going through that direction in that pathway, because if they know that they walk through it, then they're going to get swarmed by that Swarm Grenade, and you're going to be able to easily finish them off with your primary or secondary weapon. The last grenade that we have is that Trip Mine Grenade, and this is probably one of the most powerful grenades in this entire game, but it's kind of like a catch-22. This is actually one of the very few grenades that if you have a lower resilience of around 0 to 2, then it can actually damage you in just 1 kill. This is one of the only grenades that can actually do that, but in order for it to be done properly, they've got to be able to trigger that laser, and that can be done in a very, very sneaky way. So what you can actually do is you can run by the Trip Mine Grenade and go underneath it or slide over it or something along those lines, trigger the grenade, and as long as you're far enough away, you're not actually going to get any damage on the actual Guardian. So this is also one of those things where it's a delayed effect too, and so because of that delay, they can actually get away from the grenade before it actually does any damage due to this delayed effect. So if you were to ask me, I'd either use that of the Incendiary Grenade or the Swarm Grenade for all the pros and cons that I've just stated, but also keep in mind that the Incendiary Grenade can also damage multiple enemies for that massive damage output, and it all just depends on the radial damage effect as to how close that they are to that grenade. Of course, the further that they are, the less damage that they're going to do, but the closer that they are, the more damage that it's going to inflict, and that also means that it can do massive DPS to multiple guardians at the exact same time. The very last thing that we have got to cover, and it's probably going to be one of your most difficult decisions to make, and that is to choose the skill tree in which you want to use for the Gunslinger Subclass. The Gunslinger Subclass has 2 skill trees, one of which is called Way of the Outlaw, and one of which is called Way of the Sharpshooter. Both of them are focused around getting precision kills, but how those precision kills actually affect the subclass is very, very different, and let me explain how Way of the Outlaw does that first. The first perk that we've got within this subclass skill tree is called Chains of Woe, and Chains of Woe states that precision kills increases reload speed for you and nearby allies. No matter how that you look at it, this is a fantastic perk to have, because as long as you're getting those precision kills, then you're going to have that increased reload speed, especially if you're using weapons like the Anti-AVD or the Nightshade or the Old Fashioned, because all those weapons have on a kill clip, and kill clip, in order for it to be effective, you have to reload your weapon after you get your first kill, and then it becomes very, very proficient. So with Chains of Woe, that's going to increase that reload speed and ultimately allow you to down Guardians much quicker, and that can only be done with this Way of the Outlaw subclass skill tree. The next perk that we've got is called Explosive Knife. And Explosive Knife states that when your melee energy is full, you can throw a throwing knife at enemies that will explode shortly after upon impact. So the wonderful thing about this is that if you happen to see a Guardian who's one shot around a corner or something else like that, all you gotta do is just simply toss your throwing knife grenade, it's gonna stick to that wall and then detonate upon impact just the exact same way that explosive payload does. So with this, you have it as an ability. Now granted, you can't use it as often, but even so, it's very effective and can easily get you kills here and there. The next perk that we've got is called 6-Shooter, and 6-Shooter states that Golden Gun can be fired up to 6 times, but it has a shorter duration. And when it says shorter duration, I mean much shorter duration, as in like freaking 4 seconds. It goes very quickly and very fast, and so you're never really going to be able to get all those 6 shots down within that amount of time. But I will have to state that in this next coming update coming with the DLC in December, I think that this Golden Gun subclass, in particular 6-Shooter, is going to get a buff. Because as we saw from the trailers, that increased duration from 6-Shooter was much longer than 4 seconds, making it comparable and much more of a viable option to use as soon as that DLC comes out. The very last perk that we've got within this Way of the Outlaw skill tree is called Deadshot, and Deadshot states that this perk significantly improves your ability to hit with Golden Gun, giving the super more aim assist. So if you want to have more aim assist with your super, then by all means this is definitely the way to go, and it's also going to mean that you're going to be able to down more Guardians while you're in your super. The other skill tree that we have got to cover is one that's called Way of the Sharpshooter, and the Way of the Sharpshooter has one primary perk, and that's called Practice Makes Perfect. With Practice Makes Perfect, this states that you enter a trance with each precision kill, reducing the cooldown of your Golden Gun super. So right here we can see one key difference from the Way of the Outlaw to Way of the Sharpshooter, because what Practice Makes Perfect does is that instead of giving you that reload speed like what Outlaw does, in this case, headshots aka precision kills are going to reduce the cooldown of your super, and this is very proficient, going to give you your super possibly twice, maybe even sometimes 3 times per every Crucible game if you are absolutely eviscerating and decimating Guardians. The next perk that we have got here is called Knife Juggler, and Knife Juggler states that a precision kill with a throwing knife instantaneously reloads and recharges the ability. As you guys can probably see from this game footage, this is the exact subclass and skill trait that I've been using with Knife Juggler because I like to have on my melee ability at least as frequently as I possibly can. With that precision kill, getting that instantaneous recharge is fantastic and stupendous, and so that's why I like to have on this Way of the Sharpshooter skill tree, at least for now until the next DLC comes out. The next perk that we've got within Way of the Sharpshooter is one that's called Crowd Pleaser, and Crowd Pleaser states that a precision hit with the Golden Gun super generates orbs of light for your allies. This is fantastic to have, and the reason for that is because as soon as you do happen to get those precision kills, you're going to be able to generate more orbs of light. Because you're in the Way of the Sharpshooter skill tree, you're also going to be proccing Practice Makes Perfect quite frequently, allowing you to get your super before many of your other Guardians on your exact same team. What this then implies is that with Crowd Pleaser, not only are they going to be able to get their supers back faster, but that also means that you're going to be able to get your super back faster, because when they get kills with their super, then that implies that you're going to be able to pick out their orbs, and then the cycle is just going to repeat and just be able to generate orbs constantly non-stop. The very last perk that we have on this Way of the Sharpshooter skill tree is one that's called Line 'em Up. And Line 'em Up states that precision hit with Golden Gun super increases its damage and extends its duration. So right there we can see that this allows the Golden Gun super to be very proficient, allowing you to travel literally cross map from one area to the next and still have your Golden Gun super active. What this also implies is that you're going to be able to go ahead and down one Guardian very nicely, get a precision kill, then travel literally cross distance and still be able to get 1, possibly even 2 more kills, because that's literally the length of the duration of the super, and it makes it phenomenal and stupendous to have. So with all these things being said between Way of the Outlaw and also Way of the Sharpshooter, you guys can really see that both of these skill trees really just depend on how you want to be able to use it. The most pivotal thing that you have got to note is that with Way of the Outlaw, your super is very short, and with Way of the Sharpshooter, your super is very long. In addition to this, each one of them is going to be able to have precision kills, but how those precision kills affect the subclass skill tree is very different, as you're going to have to keep that in mind to fit whatever playstyle that fits you the best. The very last thing that I want to say about the Gunslinger subclass is to note how you guys are to use the super. With the Gunslinger super, number 1 thing that you have to do is pop your super behind cover. As soon as you do this, I want you to go outside into the open, and as you're going through the corner or whatever distance that you might be covering, I want you to be in the air as frequently as you possibly can. Many Guardians are not expecting you to be in the air, especially when you have your super, and that allows you to be more sneaky and also have a surprise effect on them, allowing you to get more damage and more effectively hit that shot. Golden Gun's very proficient and very powerful, and also means that you can hit Guardians cross-map. So never be afraid to pop your super behind cover and then be able to go ahead and shoot a Guardian cross-distance, because it can easily do so, as that's one of its primary advantages. The other thing that I want you to note is that I never want you to pop your super within the open. And the reason for this is because that's just simply asking for you to not get any kills, and that's not going to help you, nor is it going to help your team generate any orbs, allowing them to get their supers faster. So keep all these things in mind if you want to be able to use the Gunslinger Subclass Golden Gun effectively and make it very proficient. With all these things being said, you guys now have a very solid understanding of all the pros and cons to this Gunslinger subclass. You really can choose and pick to see how it works best for you, and also for your particular playstyle. For my aggressive playstyle, I like to have on Way of the Sharpshooter, followed by Triple Jump, Marksman's Dodge, and the Incendiary Grenade, but also keep in mind that Way of the Sharpshooter may be replaced with Way of the Outlaw coming in December with the DLC update, because I have a feeling that they're going to give that subclass and that skill tree a little bit of a buff, but who knows, we're going to have to wait and see. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on this are down in the comment section below, and also let me know how you use this subclass, because I'm very intrigued to hear all your different types of playstyles. Lastly, go ahead and check out some of my other new videos, as you guys can see right there on the screen. If you happen to enjoy this one, then you're definitely going to enjoy those as well. That's pretty much all that I've got for you as of right now, and so as always, deislayers, great gaming, until next time.